Chapter 15. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, When you are come into the land of your habitations which I give to you, and will make an offering by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering or a sacrifice, to accomplish a vow, or as a freewill offering, or in your set feast, to make a sweet savor to the Lord, of the herd or of the flock, then shall he who offers his offering offer to the Lord a meal offering of 1/10 part of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with the 4th part of a hin of oil, and wine for the drink offering, the 4th part of a hin, shall you prepare with the burnt offering, or for the sacrifice, for each lamb, or for a ram, you shall prepare a meal offering, 2/10 parts of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with the 3rd part of a hin of oil. And for the drink offering you shall offer the 3rd part of a hin of wine, of a sweet savor to the Lord. When you prepare a bull for a burnt offering, or for a sacrifice, to accomplish a vow, or for peace offerings to the Lord, then shall he offer with the bull a meal offering of 3/10 parts of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with half a hin of oil. And you shall offer for the drink offering half a hin of wine, for an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor to the Lord. Thus shall it be done for each bull, or for each ram, or for each of the he-lambs or of the kids. According to the number that you shall prepare, so shall you do to everyone according to their number. All who are homeborn shall do these things after this manner, in offering an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor to the Lord. If a stranger lives as a foreigner with you, or whoever may be among you throughout your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor to the Lord as you do, so shall he do. For the assembly there shall be one statute for you, and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner with you, a statute forever throughout your generations. As you are, so shall the foreigner be before the Lord. One law and one ordinance shall be for you, and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner with you. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, When you come into the land where I bring you, then it shall be that when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall offer up a heave offering to the Lord. Of the first of your dough you shall offer up a cake for a heave offering. As the heave offering of the threshing floor, so shall you heave it. Of the first of your dough you shall give to the Lord a heave offering throughout your generations. When you shall err, and not observe all these commandments which the Lord has spoken to Moses, even all that the Lord has commanded you by Moses, from the day that the Lord gave commandment and onward throughout your generations, then it shall be, if it be done unwittingly, without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bull for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor to the Lord, with the meal offering of it, and the drink offering of it, according to the ordinance, and one male goat for a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and they shall be forgiven, for it was an error. And they have brought their offering, an offering made by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord for their error. And all the congregation of the children of Israel shall be forgiven, and the stranger who lives as a foreigner among them, for in respect of all the people it was done unwittingly. If one person sin unwittingly, then he shall offer a female goat a year old for a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for the soul who errs, when he sins unwittingly before the Lord, to make atonement for him, and he shall be forgiven. You shall have one law for him who does anything unwittingly, for him who is homeborn among the children of Israel, and for the stranger who lives as a foreigner among them. But the soul who does anything with a high hand, whether he is homeborn or a foreigner, the same blasphemes the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of the Lord, and has broken his commandment. That soul shall be utterly cut off, his iniquity shall be on him. While the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron, and to all the congregation. They put him in custody, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. The Lord said to Moses, The man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside of the camp. All the congregation brought him outside of the camp, and stoned him to death with stones, as the Lord commanded Moses. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, And tell them to make fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put on the fringe of each border a cord of blue. And it shall be to you for a fringe, that you may look on it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that you do not follow after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to play the prostitute, that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. I am the Lord your God.
Psalm 51. For the chief musician, a psalm by David, when Nathan the prophet came to him after he had gone in to Bathsheba. Have mercy on me, God, according to your loving kindness. According to the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, my sin is constantly before me. Against you, and you only, have I sinned, and done that which is evil in your sight, that you may be proved right when you speak, and justified when you judge. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, in sin my mother conceived me. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, you teach me wisdom in the inmost place. Purify me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness, that the bones which you have broken may rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all of my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. Don't throw me from your presence, and don't take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. Uphold me with a willing spirit. Then I will teach transgressors your ways. Sinners shall be converted to you. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O God, the God of my salvation. My tongue shall sing aloud of your righteousness. Lord, open my lips. My mouth shall declare your praise. For you don't delight in sacrifice, or else I would give it. You have no pleasure in burnt offering. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. Do well in your good pleasure to Zion. Build the walls of Jerusalem. Then you will delight in the sacrifices of righteousness, in burnt offerings and in whole burnt offerings. Then they will offer bulls on your altar.
Chapter 5. Let me sing for my well-beloved, a song of my beloved about his vineyard. My beloved had a vineyard on a very fruitful hill. He dug it up, gathered out its stones, planted it with the choicest vine, built a tower in its midst, and also cut out a winepress therein. He looked for it to yield grapes, but it yielded wild grapes. Now, inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, please judge between me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why, when I looked for it to yield grapes, did it yield wild grapes? Now I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, and it will be eaten up. I will break down its wall, and it will be trampled down. I will lay it a wasteland. It won't be pruned nor hoed, but it will grow briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain on it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant planting. And he looked for justice, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry of distress. Woe to those who join house to house, who lay field to field until there is no room. And you are made to dwell alone in the midst of the land. In my ears the Lord of hosts says, surely many houses will be desolate, even great and beautiful, unoccupied. For 10 acres of vineyard shall yield 1 bath, and a homer of seed shall yield an ephah. Woe to those who rise up early in the morning that they may follow strong drink, who stay late into the night until wine inflames them. The harp, lyre, tambourine, and flute with wine are at their feast, but they don't regard the work of the Lord, neither have they considered the operation of his hands. Therefore my people have gone into captivity for lack of knowledge. Their honorable men are famished, and their multitudes are parched with thirst. Therefore hell has enlarged its desire, and opened its mouth without measure, and their glory, their multitude, their pomp, and he who rejoices among them descend into it. So man is brought low, mankind is humbled, and the eyes of the arrogant ones are humbled. But the Lord of hosts is exalted in justice, and God, the Holy One, is sanctified in righteousness. Then the lambs will graze as in their pasture, and strangers will eat the ruins of the rich. Woe to those who draw iniquity with cords of falsehood, and wickedness as with cart rope, who say, Let him make speed, let him hasten his work that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw near and come, that we may know it. Woe to those who call evil good, and good evil, who put darkness for light, and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe to those who are mighty to drink wine, and champions at mixing strong drink, who acquit the guilty for a bribe, but deny justice for the innocent. Therefore as the tongue of fire devours the stubble, and as the dry grass sinks down in the flame, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust. Because they have rejected the Lord's law, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore the Lord's anger burns against his people, and he has stretched out his hand against them, and has struck them. The mountains tremble, and their dead bodies are as refuse in the midst of the streets. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is still stretched out. He will lift up a banner to the nations from afar, and he will whistle for them from the end of the earth. Behold, they will come speedily and swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the belt of their loins be untied, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs will be like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring will be like a lioness. They will roar like young lions. Yes, they shall roar, and seize their prey, and carry it off, and there will be no one to deliver. They will roar against them in that day like the roaring of the sea. If one looks to the land, behold darkness and distress. The light is darkened in its clouds.
Therefore let us also, seeing we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who has endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, that you don't grow weary fainting in your souls. You have not yet resisted to blood, striving against sin, and you have forgotten the exhortation which reasons with you as with sons. My son, don't take lightly the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when you are reproved by him. For whom the Lord loves he chastens, and scourges every son whom he receives. It is for discipline that you endure. God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom his father doesn't discipline? For if you are without discipline, whereof all have been made partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we had the fathers of our flesh to chasten us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much rather be in subjection to the Father of spirits, and live? For they indeed, for a few days, punished us as seemed good to them, but he for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. All chastening seems for the present to be not joyous, but grievous. Yet afterward it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been exercised thereby. Therefore lift up the hands that hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, that that which is lame may not be dislocated, but rather be healed. Follow after peace with all men, and the sanctification without which no man will see the Lord, looking carefully, lest there be any man who falls short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby the many be defiled, lest there be any sexually immoral person or profane person as Esau, who sold his birthright for one meal. For you know that even when he afterward desired to inherit the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place for a change of mind, though he sought it diligently with tears. For you have not come to a mountain that might be touched, and that burned with fire, and to blackness, darkness, tempest, the sound of a trumpet, and the voice of words, which those who heard it begged that not one more word should be spoken to them, for they could not stand that which was commanded. If even an animal touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. And so fearful was the appearance that Moses said, I am terrified and trembling. But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to a numerable host of angels, to the general assembly and the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, to God the judge of all, to the spirits of just men made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better than that of Abel. See that you don't refuse him who speaks. For if they didn't escape when they refused him who warned on the earth, how much more will we not escape who turn away from him who warns from heaven, whose voice shook the earth then? But now he has promised, saying, Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. This phrase, yet once more, signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that have been made, that those things which are not shaken may remain. Therefore, receiving a kingdom that can't be shaken, let us have grace, by which we may offer service well-pleasing to God, with reverence and awe. For our God is a consuming fire.